What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am the Crypto Crow, and today I'm specifically going to be going over the launch of my new indicator that I've been using for some time now, and I love it. It's about time. That's all I can say. As many of you guys know, I've been trading a lot on my trading partner, Fairdesk. Of course, there's a link in the description below, and there's also a link directly to my indicator. And it's Thanksgiving, it's Black Friday, there's a big special going on. We were really trying to launch before this. And basically what my indicator is, it's obviously the Crow indicator, the Crow screener. It does quite a bit. And I'm going to show you guys here in a minute. And it's basically all part of the Chart Prime suite. So you're not just getting my indicator, you're actually getting the Chart Prime suite with my indicators included. The Crow Trend Scanner. This is the one key indicator involved with the suite. And then this is the Crow Screener. So you have scanner and screener. It's a little confusing, but the screener basically looks for Confluence signals that you're set up for across, I think it's 60 different trading pairs that you can configure, and it will alert you. And I'm going to show you everything live in a second, but it will alert you here on your chart when any of your top 60 picks that you're watching trigger an indication. And then you can just punch it into your chart, go there, and you can make your trade if you want. And then it's obviously part of the Market Oracle Pro, Market Dynamics Pro, the Prime Oscillator Pro. I mean, you get a lot with this indicator. But it's all on sale. So there's a deal going on. You can try it risk-free for 14 days. I encourage you to just try it and see if it works. Backtest it, play with it, and let me know what you guys think. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. So this is my indicator that's live right now. It's active on a 15-minute chart. You can see my screener here. It's working. It's basically looking for potential trade entries across all these pairs. You can configure it however you want. You can go in the settings, and then you can basically say, I want to look at these specific pairs. You can change it. Right now, it's showing 20. And so, it's very simple to go in and figure out what pairs you want to keep an eye on. All right. This was one of the biggest things for me because when we were testing my indicators, I'm like, man, it'd be really cool if we could figure out a way that I could watch multiple pairs at the same time without having 30 windows open. And they're like, we can do that. And so they basically put this together for me, but it's a part of the whole Chart Prime suite now, which is, it's a pretty big deal. I mean, let's be real. You're going to realize it when you're actually using this. Now, the Trend Scanner is a Confluence indicator. You can change a lot of things, your EMA band lengths, your MACDs, all of it. Okay. Your pivots, the whole nine. And basically what this is, you'll look here. So I'm going to turn off my screener here for a moment so that I can see things more easily. What you can see when you first open up the indicator, what you're going to see is this moving average. And then you're going to see a lot of support and resistance lines here. Now, these are all green, but they change from red to green depending on what's happening with the price. And this basically allows you to get an idea as to where the price may be headed. Like, for example, like if the price were to come down here and bounce off of this EMA, well, then there's a chance that this could become resistance and then bounce the price back down to break through to the downside, right? Things like that. Everybody knows support and resistance for the most part, but rather than you having to manually draw out these lines, this does it for you. So you don't have to think so much about it. And then what has also been useful is with the Chart Prime itself, is it will automatically discover these trading patterns. Okay. So it'll look for these pennants and stuff and, the way the pennants are formed and all of that. That's all helpful to try and gauge whether or not the indicator is accurate or how likely the trade is. If you look here, down here, we got a weak diving crow. Okay. This is basically saying the price is likely going to continue moving down from where it's at. And this is based off of 4 points of confluence between MACD, super trend, EMAs, a lot of different things. And this came about because as I was exploring different indicators, and I'm trying to look for trade entries based off of a confluence of all these indicators, I'm like, this is kind of a pain in the ass, because the trades could go either way. No indicator is 100% accurate. I mean, nothing is. You just never know 100% what's going on or what's coming next in the market. But the more confluence points you have between a multitude of indicators, the more likely that indicator is accurate, or the trade entry could prove to be more accurate. So we basically took all of these different indicators and we combined them into one based off of specific triggers within each. So, if the MACD is at this level and it's in the red, then that's a positive point for, a bearish trend or a bearish trade. And all of these things have to line up both on a bearish or bullish activity, like a price action point. So this week, Diving Crow said there's a weak signal, which typically the weak signals in my indicator are tradable. A weak signal typically means that it has 3 out of the 4 total points of confluence. But what I've been seeing and using the indicator is oftentimes the weak diving crows or the weak flying crows are typically more accurate on a 15-minute chart, and they're more accurate than even a strong signal. And the reason for that is a strong signal is typically indicative of a booming trend, whether it's to the upside or the downside. And by the time that the strong signal has occurred or triggered, you're likely much closer to the end of the price action creating the signal to begin with, if that makes sense. So I've been looking at weak diving, weak flying trade signals, getting 3 out of the 4 points of confluence, and basically catching the momentum of those trades before they turn around, if they're going to turn around. So like right here, you see a weak flying crow. The price was sitting in this candle. And when I get a trigger like this, I'm waiting for the next candle I'm waiting for the current trigger candle to close and that not repaint. So when I'm looking at my indicator and I get a crow indication, this might pop up in the middle of the candle, and I'm waiting for that candle to close before I take any action whatsoever. So if I would have waited for this candle to close and I moved into this one and got in a buy entry, I would have done very, very well. From the point of this indicator, let me chart this out real quick. Let's just say I would have got in at the opening of the next candle or what have you, and maybe I caught that wick. That would be a 0.71% trade, okay? At leverage, that matters. But that's not terrible, but it's nothing fantastic, right? I mean, let's be real about it. And then down here, I got my weak diving crow, which said basically there's a reversal. And we already see the color grid of the candles, because the color of the candles go from super bright to super dull as they transition from bullish to bearish, which is another indication of what's to come or what's happening if there's a trend forming. That's ultimately what I'm looking for. I'm looking for opportunities to get into a fast momentum trade that I can catch. Like I just did this today. I'll show you. I just got this trade. Oh, you can't even really see it. Can I scroll up? Oh, where is it? So like this, I made $148 this afternoon. This was like literally just like a half hour ago. So you can see 11:20. No, you can't. Can you see the price? Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's difficult, I know. But basically my close P&L is $148. I could have closed it, but I set a stop limit and let it go for a little while. It was at like a positive $221 at one point. I almost closed it, but I'm like, I don't want to wait. I'll just set the stop limit and let it go. Now, what we could be doing is we could be coming down to this support area here. Okay, it's gray because it's kind of an indecision. It's trying to figure out is this area of liquidity going to become support or resistance from here? And that's kind of what's happening. You can see this indecision candle. Everything's kind of in a state of indecision. So I wouldn't want to take a trade here. But as we move into the next candle, depending on if this is going to be a bullish or a bearish candle, that might be an opportunity for me to take the trade. But it depends on a lot of other things. If I'm getting a weak flying signal, then we might be in a reversal or basically continuing the trend. I'm hoping all this makes sense. I'm not that great at explaining a lot of these little details yet. It's difficult because I know what I'm looking for and I'm trying to explain it in real time so that it makes sense, so that when you're using the indicator, you know. Now, the thing of it is, when we got this weak diving crow, it basically went from this indecision candle and came up a little bit, but then it went down, and it went down pretty far. So that would have been a good trade. And we didn't get the turnaround into a flying crow until this candle here, which that went up again. And we're getting a lot of high wicks. So when I'm getting weak signals, typically what I'm doing is I might enter the trade. I'm going to watch it for a little while, but then I'm waiting for a point of profitability before I set a stop loss. Because I think, you have to look at the overall market. Where are we at on greater time frames? Maybe an hour or a 4 hour or even a day or a week. And what I've also been doing is, just to kind of help you guys kind of look and see overall what's going on. This is on a daily candle, and you can see we're still pretty bullish. We're ranging sideways for the most part. But the question for me is, do I believe that we're going to range for a little bit here on this Monday, move into Tuesday, and start pumping to get into the $40,000 area likely by Wednesday, see a little bit of a pullback on Wednesday afternoon? If I think that that's what's happening, that's going to help me understand whether or not the indications I get, like right now we're going bullish again, I might go ahead, I'm going to enter a trade on this. This is on... because I believe we're going to be looking towards 40 grand. So I'm just going to enter a trade right here. Let's see here. Where's let me close that. No, I don't want to do that. Hold on. Let me refresh this all to make sure it's all kosher. Yeah, see, I really should have just stayed in that trade instead of setting the stop loss, but I'm definitely trying to be more cautious. There we are. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to set this as a stop limit order. I'm going to set this good. It's coming back down a little bit here. 37.5. I'm going to say 37.600. That's where I'm going to enter the trade. If we get there, I'm going to go limit 37.600, and we will say, oh, it's already there. So it is what it is. All right. So I'm in the trade. And that's not necessarily because of an indication. And I've been doing this a lot. I'm just going to continue on with what I believe might be playing out, but I'm hoping that at some point I get another, even a week, flying signal. I got one back here. It never reversed on me. So I'm kind of like, I don't think we're getting a full change because this candle did not close below this low here. So I'm like, well, and then we got another big green candle and we're starting to taper a little bit, but I think we might start turning this into support and then continue pushing towards 40 grand. That might be this is what I think is going to happen over the course of this week. So because that's what I'm looking at, when the indicators trigger, it just kind of helps me better understand, where we're at. Like right now, we're still in the U.S. market. We're going to start closing out the U.S. market over the next couple hours here, and we're going to move into Asia. Hopefully Asia doesn't reverse this, but, then we'll be into the next day of the week cycle. That's basically what I look at. And when you open up the indicator and you're trying it, you can back test. Just check it out. Like right here, we got a strong flying crow. Which was basically a very bullish buy signal. And, it's a little sketchy because you're kind of right here in this pennant, right? And you're thinking, man, this could basically bounce off of here and come down. We can close even further before we break to the up or down side. We're inside this liquidity channel here, which was like, that's a little bit scary, but the indicators, all the confluence hit, 4 points of confluence all hit at the same time, and that didn't repaint at the close of the next candle, even though it's a little further down. It still didn't reverse or anything, and so that would have been a really good buy. And then on that signal, a strong flying signal, that would have been, let me see, oops, I'm gonna open up I always do this price range. So if we would have gotten in at the close of that candle and we would have went in down here, that would have been about 3%. So, at a 3% price increase at, even a 10x leverage, that would have been a pretty substantial trade. One I would have been very happy with. I don't think I took that. So, and that's basically what I'm looking for. And I'm currently working with other elements of Chart Prime because I want to continue furthering my points of confluence, even outside of my indicator, because I have had strong signals. I've had strong flying crows. The fact that this activated so close after a lot of this ranging bearish activity, so to speak, with the red candles, I mean, it went from bright red to light green and started closing in. And then right here, that was like, ooh, that would have been a scary trade. But had I got in and I didn't set a stop loss just yet, or maybe if I would have entered this trade and maybe set the stop loss down here at the bottom of this other candle, like right here, then I wouldn't have been stopped out and I would have boomed and it would have went really, really well. So that's ultimately what I'm looking for. And then when I'm using that, I'm then basically using the screener, which I can't see because these lights are blinding me. But then I'm using my screener to basically find other assets that are hitting a particular point of confluence, whether it's to the downside or to the upside. And that's it. And as I continue learning more about Chart Prime and using some of these other indicators, the oscillator and things like that, I'm going to start back testing and I'm going to start saying, okay, well, I had a weak flying crow here. And where was this indicator? What was this doing? And are there any points where I'm getting a crow indication of price action to the up or downside? And how is that reflected in the Chart Prime oscillator, and how can I better educate people on how to use all of it together to make even more accurate trades? So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next couple of weeks. But I would just encourage everybody, you could try it 14 days risk free, and if you like it and it really helps your trades, let me know in the comments. If you don't like it or you got some weird trades or whatever, I will always tell everybody, I don't care what indication you're using, always be very careful, always monitor price until you're very fluent in, because what ultimately happens is I get to a point where, Cardano's doing pretty well. That looks nice. But I always get to a point where I'm eyeballing things, and I shouldn't do that, because sometimes when I get a little over cocky, I'm like, I'm expecting to see an indication trigger here soon. And then I'm like, oh, that looks good. And then I eyeball it and I enter a trade like I just did. But that's what I think is going to play out. I'm already up $25 on this trade so far. You can see I'm up 25. I'm up $33. I mean, listen, it's not, and this is the thing, I'm not really capable of using this during the Trade Wars contest because we've got 1 hour to get in and out of trades. And sometimes it takes longer than that, which is why I like to just leave this open while I'm working, and I let my screener do the work so that I know, okay, that's how I made some pretty big trades in Rune, because it triggered on me and it told me this is a good trade for Rune, and I got in, and that was around when it was $4. So, I was getting, flying triggers on Rune, and that's when I started charting Rune out and watching Rune. And I made a few really good trades. I had a really bad one when it reversed on me at one point. And I did set a stop loss. And that's another point I want to make, is even if you set a stop loss, depending on how quickly the price action's moving, that stop loss might get blown right through. So you've got to be careful. But so far, I absolutely love my indicator. I really do. We've been working on this for, I don't know, a month, I guess. I mean, it's been quite a while, at least a few weeks. And I've been back testing. I've been testing it in real time. I've been trading in real time, thanks to my Fair Desk sponsor, who've been very good. So listen, try it out, but definitely don't be crazy. Don't do anything foolish. I won't really go over 10% in my primary trade channel, or 10x in my primary trade account. I'm trying to play it safe. Technically, if you want to make a career run, it being some kind of a day trader, those guys generally don't use more than 2% of their bank. And on top of that, if you're trying to execute, this is the final point I want to make with all of this, because even though I get a lot of signals, on a 15-minute candle, I can go into a 5-minute candle, and you'll see a lot of signals, and you'll also see the market sessions and things. I love to use the market sessions, and that is something that I basically got, and it has been very helpful from Trade Travel Chill. And, the thing of it is I'm not necessarily looking for quick scalps. I'm trying to use these indicators to help me find runs. I want to see a run, and I'm trying to use the indicator to help me understand what is happening over the course of an hour or a day, not over 30 seconds, because the smaller the time frame, the more activity you're putting in. And when you're talking about leverage trading, the fees could potentially eat you up. So I'm trying to get an idea. It's like, listen, I think these patterns are happening. This is what's going on. The indicator's telling me the price is likely going to be moving up. I want to know, where am I going on like a 30-minute chart? What is likely happening on higher time frames? That's where the money's at. The scalps are fun, but the scalps are only really profitable on lower time frames if you're able to predict what's happening in the market, and you're able to get in and out on limit orders to reduce the fees. So keep that in mind. And listen, as I continue using this, as we continue fine tuning it, as I continue getting better trades, I'm definitely going to be sharing a lot of the information on my Ko-Fi account. So make sure you follow me there. I don't want anybody to degen into my indicator and think it's going to make you rich. It's not going to do all the work for you. You have to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to use it properly. Anybody that wants to pretend that their indicator is basically going to allow you to close your eyes, hit a button, and you're going to make a bunch of money is full of shit. Okay. Any indicator you use has to be used properly, and the way you effectively trade with it has to be done properly. So keep that all in mind. I don't want to promise the wind. I prefer under promise and over deliver based off of your experience as you're learning how to use it. Let me know of any questions you guys have in the comments when you're using it. Try it out. Any questions you guys have, I'll be answering in future videos. And until then, grow your coins, and I'll see you again real soon.